Hey, how about we watch another anime today, folks? This time for Halloween! So I decided that Little Witch Academia would be perfect for it. Here's a fun fact. This anime was supposed to be the first one that I would ever review on this channel. I actually had in mind to do anime reviews like years ago, and the first anime that came to mind was Little Witch Academia. But I guess because I had other things to do at that point, I finally managed to do my first review this year, but it was Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid first, and then Kaguya-sama Love is War. And, well, now we are here, finally got to this one. Mostly since this is a Halloween season and all. So, yeah, let's not delay this anymore. You wanna see the good stuff, I know for sure, so let's see what it's all about. It all begins with one magic performance at a young age of 6. Atsuko Kagari, or Akko, witnesses the beautiful magic done by Shiny Chariot and decides to become a witch herself one day. And thus she enrolls at the Magic Academy Lunanova. Hijinks ensue, featuring a giant cockzilla trying to eat the main trio. But with Akko's determination and courageous spirit, they manage to escape and get in time for the ceremony. Hello there, Tsumugi. The animation is beautiful, like magical even. Something tells me that this will be among the most pretty looking anime that I've seen in a while. And the characters thus far, they are really lovely. Akko is our main character, and she is quite a goofball, but she got the spirit as well. Susie seems to be the mischievous type, having no qualms using the other two girls as bait for Cockzilla, but later the girls are all, yeah, water under the bridge. And Lotte, from what I'm seeing, she will more than likely be the down-to-earth straight man of the group. Or straight girl. Okay, whoever named their child Badcock must have been a Twitch streamer. Here we are introduced to Diana Cavendish, the rival of our main protagonist? So yeah, we've seen this in other shows that have this high school mean girls trope, where the main obstacle of the main character is the mean popular girl who will make fun of you, and is usually accompanied by one or two sidekicks. However, I don't know, like I don't see Diana as one who has to assert her dominance and ruin Akko's life by always showing how better she is at every corner, but rather she's seen here having a problem with how Akko idolizes Shiny Chariot more than her having a problem with Akko herself. And yeah, something tells me that Chariot had a bit of a bad history here at the school, like who knows. And Diana is basically warning Akko, hey, idolizing and talking about Shiny Chariot is taboo at the school, so you should stop distracting yourself with that if you know what's best for you. Hell, she even tried to heal the memorial tree, only to backfire as far as she was aware. And thus came Akko with Shiny Chariot's spell to wake up the Papiliodia, thus making Diana question her thoughts in regards to Shiny Chariot herself. Only time will tell where Diana's character will go from here. Either way, fuck these two brats. Here, it is said that magic energy is originating from a sorcerer's stone, so basically without it you cannot do magic. I would assume witches can equip themselves with these magic stones on them to carry whatever they want. I assume that is how Shiny Chariot did her magic performances, like outside of her school. But then, wait, how come the girls were able to perform magic in that dangerous forest they got lost in that first episode? Was there like a stone like that there as well? Anyway, this episode focuses on Akko trying her damnedest to learn how to fly the broom, cause she cannot ride it for the life of her. Communicating with the broom, begging it, cannon shooting? Nothing. The day of the broom relay is here, and with some mischief coming from Susie, we have a head start in the competition. Though it doesn't help that Constance Branchbank Albrechtberger had customized our broom with mechanical parts. Luckily, Susie prepared another bait for the second member. This episode has definitely been the most hilarious so far, with Akko trying to tame the shooting star to the best of her abilities, and trying to win with it. But sadly, she couldn't get the first place. But you know what, that's okay. Because the lesson that we all should take from this is, try to find a partner that can chain you to bed, the same way Akko chains herself to her broom. 364 volumes? But is it still longer than Yumineko? I don't know about that one. Also, Belle, Edgar, vampires and werewolves? Oh boy. You know, I could make the obvious joke here, but I feel like the more I pretend it doesn't exist, the more it will disappear from history entirely. So far, it's been working out, like, quite well in recent years, so we're just gonna keep ignoring that. I love that at the beginning of this episode, we see Lotte write to another fan of Nightfall, Great Ben 810, and more than likely became friends through that. And later, at the opening of the new volume, Lotte became friends with this person in Great Ben cosplay. So, surprise surprise, that same Great Ben cosplayer is Great Ben 810. Huh, go figure. Wow, this was a nice episode. Like, it does hit home with how it feels to be a creator, whether it is a book or videos or 3D art or anything. Like, it can be tiring, almost wanting to give up at times even. Whether we're talking about mean-spirited people, or lack of growth, or lack of passion. But, you know, a fan that is brought to pure happiness thanks to your creation is enough to push forward for a little while. What the what? So Babcock was Great Ben 810? Oh. I loved this. What began as a serious mission to get the Sorcerer's Stone back and eventually fight the dragons in the process ended up being this hilarious conclusion, with the introduction of this new character called Fafnir, a dragon character. Hey, Fafnir, is he your grandpa or something? And we managed to get the stone back through business mumbo-jumbo because Fafnir took advantage of the fact that humans couldn't read the contract like 1000 years ago. This was a nice episode, showing us how the Academy is low on money right now, which was mentioned a few times previously, reason why Akko was able to enroll in the Academy despite the fact that she was 100% human. And it shows this ongoing theme of magic versus technology, and how, according to Fafnir, witches are running out of their use. And you know, this episode was building up to it, what with how the witches had to do the chores manually without the magic. But here you have Constance constantly showing off her machinery, like the one that does the laundry automatically, and the guns and the bazooka used against the dragons as well. And yeah, I guess to kinda retract the things I said, like in episode 2, Diana is seen here as more of a quote-unquote rival, like more than before, given how she basically solved the problem all by herself. And it is through that Akko and Amanda find like a common ground to work together in the future. Diana truly has that Hermione energy. It's tia frere, na friere. Yeah, well, how about I tia frere this broom up your butthole, you twat? Akko yet again is having difficulty using magic, this time with a metamorphosis spell, so she's locked in her room trying to practice the spell while a party is being held, visited by Lord Hambridge and his sons, one of which is Andrew Hambridge. He apparently had a childhood with Diana, and he embodies that same belief from before that magic and witches are no longer of use in this day and age. So yeah, I'm starting to sense that this whole thing with magic and witches being seen in bad light is more than likely going to be the main conflict of this show. Will Akko be able to prove everyone wrong about that? Well, as of now, she's still having trouble learning to be a witch, so she decides to use the Fountain of Polaris to gain some of that magical power. This last scene with the fountain, with Akko and Chariot, was beautiful. Of course, it seems that Akko is not yet worthy to get this power, but it seems that even Chariot went through the same thing when she was a student too. In the end, Akko still has to work hard, and she realizes this. Hell, she even knew from the start. She is a hard worker, no doubt, so I would say that was the only issue here. It is about whether Akko believes she can even be greater, cause after you work and have low results, you kinda falter. So Akko wanting to see the Fountain of Polaris was more so for Akko to gain reassurance that she even has the hidden radiance to begin with, not necessarily to gain that power specifically. And in the end, she did get a nod by Ursula, which is enough for Akko to move forward. Speaking of Ursula, she did have red hair in this one shot for a split second. Well, Akko decided to work even harder. Except she still sucks, apparently. Restoration magic, moving objects, flying the goddamn broom, you name it. One excellent after another, and Akko has one more shot at passing any exam, and if she doesn't, she will be expelled. And so, of course, in her last exam, she ends up sending Professor Pesci into the sewers by accident, and thus the team has to try and save her. This new season of Fishhooks surely looks different. I like the message that Professor Ursula is bringing here. In a last attempt at persuading Finilan to have Akko stay, she tells her that, hey, a person that grows in comparison to their first day is better than comparison to other students. And I think that's another nice message for anyone out there who is continuing to learn whatever it is they're working on. And not just that, but Akko does show that she became better in some of the class subjects, like how she can actually understand what Pesci is saying now. And coincidentally, Akko actually saved an endangered species of fish in the process, and is thanked by the Environment Agency. So today, Akko is off the hook, pun intended, and gets a lot of points for her thinking of the safety of others over her own, her hard work, and
for sheer dumb luck.
We gotta get you inside Susie to wake her up from the weird experiment she did. Let me just hit you in the head with a magical bat. That will do the trick. Inside there's a fuckload of Susies, it seems. Oh shit! It's the Lolly Police! Run, Akko! And thus we are at the court of Susie, where all sorts of Susies are being born from recent feedings, and they are being judged. Well, you know what time it is, Akko. It is time for objection! We will not allow— And Akko is sentenced to death. But it's okay, cause she succeeds in her escape and frees the imprisoned Susies. Christ. You know very well that if we were to go inside Akko's mind, we would totally find Akko-ness Everdeen there. So yeah, apparently it turns out all this was Akko's dream. It is a fun twist, showing that this isn't about how Susie felt inside her mind in regards to herself and Akko, but rather how Akko felt about Susie. This was a weird one, not gonna lie. Break time! Hydration time! Before we continue, I'd like to remind you guys that if you enjoy what you're seeing, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, comment, and all that fun stuff. Also, if you feel generous today and want to support your friendly skeleton, make sure to donate some coffee. I need some of that good old coffee to keep myself awake during the day. I have done 2 anime reviews thus far, and I'm planning to do more. Also, if you are a fan of visual novels, especially on the mystery department, I am now doing Yumineko on the channel, my new all-time favorite. Alright, now that I've said all there is to say, and if you hydrated in the meantime, we can continue. Shoe hats! Genius! Alright, so it seems that today the student will have to leave the academy for a while, and they are taught to have a precious amulet left behind at the academy so that wherever they go, they will think of their home and their amulet. In Akko's case, it is the shiny chariot card. Oh hey, it's my grandpa! So yeah, apparently Akko accidentally revived this skeleton pirate dude, who is running away trying to find somebody who he has a bone to pick with, pun intended, and so we gotta stop him. Otherwise, the girls will be punished for reviving the dead. Can we get an isekai where the main character is a skeleton? Actually, I think there are a bunch of them. I should probably check those out. This was a beautiful episode. The twist is that apparently the one person our skeleton had a vendetta against was basically himself, after he finally remembered. Cause he died before he could offer Miranda, the headmistress of the school surprisingly, the magical bell thingamajig, and to see her become a great witch. And now he got to spend one more day with Miranda before he goes back to being dead. Quite lovely. Is that a bead rule? It seems that Susie ordered the wrong book, and she got a love one, where you fall in love with the first person you see. Meanwhile, a party is gonna happen soon, with Andrew Hebridge there, so the girls decide to find some nice dresses for themselves. I know I said before that bunny girls are an instant favorite, but nah, Nah, this is an instant pass. Oh wait, we're not playing Smash or Pass. Yeah, please don't do Smash or Pass for Little Witch Academia, guys. Ursula, though. Yeah, so as you would guess from the first seconds of this episode, this is a love potion episode. What with shenanigans ensuing once Andrew is hit with a love bee and falls for Akko. Like, falls for her a little too much. What's funny is that the bee keeps stinging people, and Lotte also has to deal with guys falling for her. And probably the funniest side gag here is that Diana not only gets stung with the bee and falls for Akko too, but later she gets stung again and falls for herself. And thus, the highlight of this episode was the whole discussion Andrew and Akko had about dreams, followed by Andrew actually doing what he wanted to do 10 years ago, which is play the piano, while Akko tries to catch the bee in a very Tom and Jerry-esque fashion. I feel like this is one of those things where it is up to interpretation how much of what Andrew felt here was from his own heart, or was influenced by the love bug. And this was a cute episode. Also, here is a fun little thought. It is said that Andrew has been instructed by his father to not play piano like 10 years ago, and yet Andrew still plays the piano like a pro here. Something tells me that he still played piano, like in secret. Here we have an important episode, folks. First off, I had a sneaking suspicion about it, but yeah, it turns out that Ursula is actually Shario. It does certainly make you think back on how Ursula decided to take Akko under her wing of all people, and all those times of mentoring and protecting her. Second, we're getting some more magic lore in this, which not sure if I got all of it, but the idea is that 1600 years ago was a time when magic was the most abundant and prosperous. Hell, I think it was also mentioned that magic was done even without these sorcerer's stones. Magic has been in decline for a good while. Third, this was an episode in which Akko really wanted to get to the bottom of Shario's disappearance, which leads her to the Blue Moon Abyss cave with the help of her card. It says that there is a apparition there, which maybe Akko was hoping that is where Shario was hiding all this time, and thus went on a mission to find her. When she found this apparition, she was asked if Akko really wants to become like Shario. It is possible, but for that, she has to erase her past. Akko in the end decides not to. It is what defines her after all. The past, her memories, the people she met. This is another message that if you want to become like someone else, then it's like trying to copy that person. And thus, you yourself will no longer be the same you have been before that, which defines you. Also, there is this ongoing thread of how Akko is reviving these words? First one happened in the first episode when she escaped the woods with Shario's staff, and the second revived like right here. However, as for whatever the hell this all means lore-wise, that will be for a different day. Like, whenever Ursula decides to tell Akko the truth about all this. Mood. The Samhain Festival is upon us, and Akko decides to go for the title of Moonlit Witch. Except, she and her team are chosen to be the sacrifices for this weird gobbledygoo monster ghost, as part of the tradition of the festival. Which makes Ango angry. So angry she ends up finding this magic mirror that turns her into Diana. As the day progresses, she ends up in all sorts of situations, including being in Diana's room for the first time and fooling the two sidekicks into believing that they are cursed. But after the spell has been lifted, Akko is sullen by how great Diana is in general. The episode brings up another nice message of how not to compare to others, but rather yourself, and guided by the staff all the way back to the Fountain of Polaris, she sees images of the past, with Shario having the time of her life showing her metamorphosis magic. With that, it would seem Akko has the answer to the question she asked the Fountain previously. What is something only she can do? And that something is to make the Vajara preacher laugh. Being the goofball that Akko is, has its advantages, after all. Initially, there is some hesitation from her two best friends, wanting just to stick to tradition, and that they feel like they just can't keep up with Akko's antics like all the damn time. But in the end, they will still be with her, cause it is also damn fun being with her. And it turns out that Akko's display of questionable yet fun magic is making everyone watching having a good time. which is what matters in the end. But it turns out that this is not cheering up the monster, so what really needs to be done is to rip the seed of sorrow from inside, so that instead of eternally remembering her dead friends, she should smile and continue forward, since that is more than likely what her friends would have wanted. And it turns out that she is Princess Bubblegum, by the way. Huh. Akko doesn't get the title of the Moonlit Witch, since even if PB has been released, she technically broke the rules of the festival. But in the end, Akko, Lotte and Susie, they were surely the highlight of this year's festival. Ooh, a new opening! Nice. Both of the openings shown thus far, they were really lovely, and it seems that we're getting a little teaser of Shario and this other person. Which, I guess this person might have been to Shario what Diana is to Akko? Maybe that was the person for which we see in Shario at the fandom Polaris. I wonder. Okay, so it seems that Ursula is finally deciding that it is time for Akko to learn the truth. But it seems that the fairies are having a strike due to low Sorcerer's Stone energy payment. Yeah, that sure is a thing. So Ursula has to do some of the heavy lifting to gain some of the extra energy. Being young is suffering. Meanwhile, a new teacher, Professor Craw, arrived with her Guren Lagan getup. Well, maybe she can help too. With a Roomba! Oh! Akko trying to reason with the workers but ending up joining the strike as well is among my favorite moments here. It does make her think that since magic is even more important to the fairies for them to even live, how can she use magic to make people happy if at the same time it might can inconvenience others? So Professor Craw comes up with a modern magic solution to this. The Sorcery Solution System, the SSS, which ends up being implemented eventually after the commotion happened, and one of the workers almost died because of Diana's sidekicks. Or maybe was Craw purposely instigating the chaos to push the SSS? That seems more likely. I mean, when you think about it, the fairies must have gotten those Sorcerer's Stone insulators from somewhere, right? The school is changing, now turning to modern magic, and it seems that Craw will be here for a while, much to Ursula's shock as she returns. So yeah, that one shot of Shario and this other girl in the opening, more than likely it must be her, so it would make sense if Ursula and Craw have some history together. It seems that Akko is becoming more and more of a fan of Craw and her new modern magic, and decides to ask her about her past with Shario, which leads to them meeting up at her lab in the new moon tower to analyze the shiny rod. So, okay, this seems quite dangerous, and there is clearly some ulterior motive to Craw being here in the first place. She takes interest in the rod and even goes ahead to forcefully analyze Akko herself and determine what it is that makes the rod react to her. Of course, Ursula seems to know exactly what is happening, so she tries to get to Craw, and being attacked in the process by her guards in a very nice looking action sequence here. Ursula does manage to bring Akko back safely after Craw got what she needed from Akko, and it seems that her ultimate goal is to get her hands on the reconstruction magic. What that reconstruction magic is? Well, Ursula explains it here when she finally reveals the truth about the shiny rod. The origin of magic, its decaying, and the 9 old witches sitting it, the ley lines that remain from it, and the 7 magic words needed to break the seal. So, now that Akko finds out about the 3 words she arrived, it is up to her to get the remaining 4. I guess it makes sense that Ursula is still not gonna tell Akko that she's Shario. I mean, she has the remaining words, except the last one. So Akko, well, she gotta work towards finding those herself. Okay, so Akko is from now on a mission to find the remaining 4 words, and the 4th one may be closer than she realizes. But we cannot have her get that before more chaos ensues. This time in the form of a Mars invasion. Yeah, so Akko and Susie were invited to Lotte's home to eat some of that Hakala Balalaika pie, but afterwards, that pie turned them into moss. Except for the most part, cause she only took 1 bite before throwing up. And thus, the gang are on a quest to get the ingredients. This was a nice episode, not only in the humor department with motivating the Yeti to continue his craftsmanship, or would it be craft Yeti-ship? And seeing Santa Claus for a brief second, but also in the message of having the patience required for a great witch. That is what Akko lacked, and what was needed for the fourth word. There is also this moment when Akko had to go back and reflected on herself, which I think this goes beyond just the message of the episode, but also fighting with her past weaknesses again. Oof. Am I allowed to show this on YouTube? You probably wonder how Amanda and Akko got here. It seems both of them had the genius idea to go to Appleton Academy and find that Holy Grail, cause they think that might lead to the fifth word. And Amanda had to disguise herself in student outfit, while Akko tries to find the Grail in her mouse form. Andrew is featured in this part as well. Of course, things don't go well and Amanda and Akko were about to be punished, in the most brutal way imaginable, until Andrew arrived, which thankfully that stopped the traditional way of punishing a witch, but Amanda still has to win the duel in order to safely get out of there. She wins, not just against Lewis, but also against the giant armored monster that woke up thanks to the supposed Grail breaking. A really nice action set piece, must say. In the end, it doesn't seem like that was the Holy Grail, and more than likely it has nothing to do with the fifth word. So it begs the question what Professor Croix's plot was about in this episode. She surely was the one who put that magic inside the Grail which woke up the armored monster. For what purpose, I wonder? Oh shit, she's packing! We have a Constance-centered episode here, folks. Praise the Lord, Constance. Akko accidentally destroyed her stun robot, so she decided to go and apologize to Constance, only to be thrown out as fast as she entered. But darn it, Akko will not let it slide. She will help Constance with whatever it is that she's working on, including her wish to become a wild hunter. And, well, they had a rough start, but they eventually made peace, and Akko was able to help Constance in making this pirate spaceship to help the wild hunters in defeating the ghosts. But uh-oh, Professor Croix is about to bring chaos again, not only dragging humans into the event, but also using the ghosts to create monsters to attack everyone. But don't worry, thanks to Akko's brilliant idea, Constance also managed to have the ship be able to transform into a mecha! Okay, let me guess, is this anime made by the ones that did Gurren Lagann? Let me check this. Studio Trigger. Oh, now it all makes sense. Heck yeah! And as a reward, Akko gets a mechanical broom that can make her fly. Very slowly, but I guess it's something, I guess. It's the fall that counts. Baby! Time for Diana-centered episodes. So it seems that partially what motivates her in studying and being who she is because of her mother, wishing her to be a great witch and lead the family to a better future, and restore the dignity of the magic world. Nani? She's leaving? Nani the fuck? Yeah, apparently her one shot at becoming the new head of the Cavendish family means that she has to quit school. What a load of ass. The professors try to convince her to stay, and Akko tries to convince her to stay as well, but fails to do so. But Akko, being the stubborn girl that she is, doesn't accept any of this baloney, so she decides to go to the wedding burg to stop her personally. God damn it, Akko, you still cannot fly a broom for the life of you. Hitchhiking time! Oh, Andrew. Well, this is awkward. What a coincidence. Andrew is also going to the wedding burg since he apparently got an invitation. What? Diana also had a shiny Shadow card? I knew she had some past with Shadow as well. And yeah, I can see why Diana has to become the new head right now. Cause if that won't happen, then Aunt Daryl will continue to do whatever she wants and ruin the family even more. I mean, I can see that. I mean, have you seen her and her daughters? Yup, relatable as fuck. It is time for the new head of the Cavendish family to be chosen, so Diana is going to be doing the ritual in the end. Akko and Andrew reflect on Diana's actions here, and the two believe that her leaving Luna Nova without graduating is out of character for her, since she always finishes what she begins, even if becoming the new head is what she wants. So something is pushing Diana to do this ritual like right now. And something might have to do with Diana's aunt and her two daughters who have put her in danger during the ritual. I don't know, I have this feeling. So Akko arrives to save Diana. Of course, because of this, Diana had to forfeit the ritual to attend to Akko's wounds, so it seems that it is too late to become the new head. With Diana reflecting on the Cavendish line and how much her mother tried to preserve it, Diana couldn't help but do so too, to protect it. That is her dream. So obviously Akko wants to help as well, and because of that, the fifth word has made its appearance. When the traditional and modern powers mingle, a new unseen world will open, which ends up summoning Shadow's soul Broom. Man, this episode managed to get me teary-eyed. Diana and Akko tried to get to the ritual on time, and Diana would have managed to do so to finish the ritual, but she couldn't leave Daryl and the daughters behind. In saving them, Diana lost the chance to become the new head. But it is alright. In Diana's last moments before going back to school, she is reassured by Anna and the rest of the servants that they will try their best to continue to protect the family and the house in her absence. Oh my god, stop it! And it seems that maybe Daryl herself had a change of heart by the end of all this, thanks to being saved by Diana. Well, how about that sixth word, eh? Kra tells Akko about climbing the Wagandia tree, which is what Shadow did a long time ago to get the word. But Ursula forbids Akko from going there now, since at any point right now Poland might release, which can make you lose magic forever. Even Diana warned Akko about it as well, like out of concern. I get the feeling that whatever it is that stopped Shadow, out of all people, to pursue the seventh word, it would be this right here. Shadow herself lost that something which is precious to her. The pollen can take weeks, months, or even years to go away. But of course, Kra persuades Akko otherwise, saying that pollen shouldn't appear for a good while, and decide to go together to see. She even makes Akko doubt Ursula, and to be wary of her. Man, it's really not easy talking about what happened in this episode, like this was heavy. The way I see it, ever since the day Shadow was chosen to carry the staff and find the words, she felt guilt in stealing Kra's dream of becoming the greatest witch. And now she's feeling guilt yet again on pushing Akko into finding those words as well, as if trying to fulfill the wish she never managed to achieve. Almost as if she was about to do the same mistake she did previously, stealing someone's future, in this case being Akko's. As for Kra, no doubt she felt resentment towards Shadow ever since that day, even if it was not her fault, and is making Akko go through the same thing, not cause she had a beef with her, no. She had a beef with Shadow. As for Akko... Man, oh man, okay. I'm not gonna be angry at Akko. All I'm gonna say to her is that she should have known better by now. To be patient. And you even chose to trust Kra over the person that took care of you since day one. Like, literally. It is one of those days when Akko has been blinded, and she herself admits to her lack of growth in this instance, and apologizes and thanks Ursula for everything, which, in the end, unlocks the sixth word. Okay, so this is something that has been building up since like episode 19, but it would seem that people are being really mad about the football match and they are protesting, maybe even leading to war between nations. Really? And something tells me that this sudden surge of emotions is caused by Kra yet again, which is basically confirmed by the end of this. Meanwhile, Akko and Ursula have another talk. This time about the seventh and final word, which not even she knows what it means. Also, guess it's time to reveal yourself as Shadow. But oh, such bad timing yet again, cause Andrew wants to meet Akko like right now. Yeah, so back when she went to Edinburgh to get Diana back to Luna Nova, she forgot her hat behind, so that brings them together again to chat once more. A good point coming from Andrew. Why think that Shadow would be needed to bring peace with her magic when you yourself could do it, Akko? And that is what Akko has settled on working toward. She ends up confronting Kra about the harvesting of emotions for alternate magic fuel. And what follows... Christ. Like, really hitting me with this whole Akko, Shario, and Crow storyline. Where, like, possibly be the biggest twist in this entire show. Like, I could never have predicted this one. Remember the show Shario did when Akko was ill? Well, it seems Shario did a similar thing that Kroa is doing right now. Take away the dreaming energy of the people to convert it to magic. And it is cause of this Akko is having a hard time doing magic in the first place. Shario's show stole people's ability to perform magic. It is mentioned that it has something to do with the moon, but other than that, for now, the reason why Shario did this is a mystery. And Akko, oh boy, is she angry. And right when she finally finds out that Ursula was Shario all along. And this really does go back to what I said in the previous episode about how Shario feels guilty for what happened to Crow and Akko. And right after Akko apologizes to Ursula for not trusting her in that instant, like this happens right now. Wow. I guess understandably so, Akko is now missing. No one knows where she went. Like, we also get some more flashback with Shario and Croa, explaining what Shario did at that point. It would seem that Shario was doing really well for a good while, but it seems that the excitement of the audience was dying down over time, so Shario had to keep looking for more and more exciting magic to perform. And here comes Croa to offer Shario the idea of using Dream Fuse Spirit to enhance the magic. Yeah, so it seems that Shario didn't even know that what she did stole people's ability to do magic, and this was planned by Croa all along, mad at her for not taking the mission to get all 7 words seriously, and toying around with these magic shows. Man, what a tragic character Shario is. Diana succeeds in finding Akko, showing her the Shario premium card in her possession, telling her that she too was a fan of Shario since she was a kid. And FYI, it was mentioned before that Akko was collecting the Shario cards, and the premium card was the only one missing that she always wanted, which was said in episode 2 back when we had Diana's first introduction. Go figure. And surprisingly, she tells Akko that she too was at that same show that Shario held back when the magic was taken. It was said in passing by Andrew that there was one time Diana couldn't perform magic, foreshadowing the result of that show, and had to work hard to get that magic back. This shows Akko that not only Diana is living proof that you can get magic back by working hard, but also that Diana and Akko are a lot similar than one may think. Diana did end up at Luna Nova for the same reason that Shario also studied there. But sadly, because of her responsibility and pressure to one day become the head, that passion for Shario became more and more distant. Even so, it was thanks to Akko she is now here where she is. Even if initially Diana was envious of Akko, being closer to Shario than she ever was. And literally too. Partly another reason why she had left for the ritual, and gives Akko the premium card. A believing heart is your magic, huh? A better Star Wars story than The Rise of Skywalker, am I right? So, despite Shario's headmistress Miranda's and Finilan's attempts at stopping Croa, she finally gathers all the energy that she needs to break the seal of the Grand Trisket. And what's worse is that the Sorcerer's Stone no longer has any magic in it now. And because of that, the ley line disappears while Akko and the gang ride it, thus having them sent to Arcturus Forest again. Oh no! Croa finally managed to open the Trisket! And we finally find out what it is! The 9 old witch's sense of humor, apparently. So yeah, things go down the drain more and more for Croa, where not only does she not get the restoration magic, but her big giant device/robot getting under control, having Shario and Akko come in to save the day. And, well, despite what may have happened, Akko lets the issue slide, and thanks Shario for everything. Enrolling at the academy, making friends, and growing up thanks to her. No longer needed to be like Shario when she can be herself. And with that, they hug it out. And with the final word that represents the connections Akko made till now, the Arcturus Forest is finally restored. But it's not over yet. There is still one more looming threat to deal with, in the form of a giant rocket about to create chaos, it seems. Well, how unfortunate. It seems the magical creatures are still going haywire, and have taken over a giant rocket, and Kroa, she cannot do anything to stop it. With this, it will create even more hatred in the world. But with 9 times the determination, 9 times the broom, and 9 times the drip, the 9 new witches are going to take that missile down. One of my favorite things in this episode is how each of the girls will offer a boost and push those in front to move forward. Yasminka, Constance, Amanda, and Laten Susie. Not only that, but the remaining ones, Akko and Diana, they are being pushed exponentially by the people down below, hoping and praying for their success to stop the rocket. A really well done action set piece featuring Akko and Diana. And yes! I was hoping the shooting star might play a role in this. I was right! With possibly the biggest magic performance I've ever seen, the rocket was defeated, and everyone lives to tell the happiest ending imaginable. This was a lovely anime. Probably the most, no, I'd say the most wholesome show that I watched. I had a lovely time with this. Like, one of the first things I want to say about this particular anime that does differ to other anime that I watched, whether it is this channel or in my spare time, it is that this is definitely a shoujo anime, or shoujo-like anime. And if it is not categorized as such, then it does make me think of one at the very least. Now, when I think of the genre of shoujo, it refers to a genre targeted at girls initially, which, well, you know how it is, folks. Girls and women can like shonen like One Piece and JoJo. Boys and men can like Little Witch Academia and Sailor Moon. It's 2022. There is no such thing as gatekeeping based on genres. This is as pure as anime can get. Like, you will not find a single sinful thing about this. Like, you can show this to your child and they will love it. Cause I don't know how it will work if I were to show a 9-year-old girl like Kobayashi or Kaguya, and then this happens.
Why do boys like booba? Will I have big booba like Luca?
The story was nice. The characters were all so delightful.
My babies!
No one shall hurt my babies. What? Akko and the rest of the girls are 16? Huh. I always thought of them much younger than that, like around 13 or below. The wiki doesn't even show how old Ursula says Shadow is. I'm gonna say that she's 26. Yes.